Hello, Facebook friends. Today I want to talk to you about a very important topic, fatty pancreas. Now, you may very well be saying to yourself, I've heard of fatty liver, but I've never heard of fatty pancreas before. What the heck is that, doctor? Well, that's what this video is about. I'm about to tell you, okay? This video is vital information for any of your friends or family who have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, or who are overweight, because they are all at risk from getting fatty pancreas and all of the terrible complications that come with that, okay? Fatty pancreas is a diagnosis that's often ignored by doctors, family doctors, internists, and even endocrinologists. Just don't talk about it. They don't understand it. I'm not finished with my research on this study. I'll probably do more videos about this in the future because I feel like it's very important. I actually saw a video of a radiologist doing an ultrasound, and he commented that the patient had fatty pancreas, but that was of no concern. And I was literally blown away by that. Like, what the hell are you talking about, doctor? That's of no concern to you? Maybe not as a radiologist, but if you're a primary care doctor or an endocrinologist or a cardiologist or anyone who takes care of human patients, you should give a damn about fatty pancreas. It's a big deal. Fatty pancreas is the next step in the cascade that starts from eating a crappy diet, being a little overweight, having a fatty liver. Then the next step is starting to have a fatty pancreas. Then the next step is insulin resistance. Then the next step is, oh my gosh, you have type 2 diabetes. So this is a huge deal. If the fatty pancreas gets bad enough, you can even wind up needing insulin, even though your pancreas still makes insulin, or at least your doctor will tell you you need insulin because he'll be out of bullets in his gun and he won't know what to tell you to do next. So that's just the next knee-jerk reaction that most doctors have if your blood sugar is not controlled. So as I said earlier, the first step is being overweight and starting to have a fatty liver from your crappy diet. These are the warning signs. As I tell my patients, that's the train whistle blowing. And what that means is the train's coming and it's going to run over you. So for years, all a patient may have is an ALT or an AST that's a little bit elevated. They may, on a CAT scan or an ultrasound checked for some other reason, have a fatty liver. And a lot of doctors won't even tell their patients, hey, I saw on the CAT scan or the ultrasound you have fatty liver. That's a big damn deal. Here's what you need to do about that. They'll either mention it as, oh, by the way, there's some fat in your liver. That may be what symptom's coming from, but it's nothing to worry about. What the heck, okay? If you've had an ultrasound of your abdomen or a CAT scan of your abdomen, if your doctor didn't tell you that whether or not you have fat in your liver, fatty infiltrates, you need to get a copy of that report and read it. And if it says that you have fatty liver, or definitely if it says you have fatty pancreas, then you need to look into that. That's a big deal. That's a huge risk for terrible medical complications coming further down the road for you. That's the train whistle blowing, my friend, and you're sitting on the railroad tracks. Okay? I'm not joking. I'm using that analogy very seriously. So after the fatty liver, next you start to have the liver enzymes that are elevated. You start to have a little bit of insulin resistance. And if your doctor even checks a C-peptide or an insulin level, he may say, yeah, you're becoming insulin resistant. And, we'll just keep an eye on that, or we'll watch that. No, you don't want to do that. You want to immediately start taking actions to prevent type 2 diabetes, which is the ultimate side effect of fatty liver and fatty pancreas, and that's where you're headed, and you don't want to ever go there, I promise you, okay? So both of these, fatty liver and fatty pancreas, are diseases of diet. They're dietary diseases, okay? Many doctors will tell their patients, we're not sure why you have insulin resistance. We don't really know why you have this fat in your liver, but we'll just keep an eye on it. No. Let's be clear here. As you come to know me, you'll realize I'm going to tell you just like it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat this because I don't like sugar-coated food or sugar-coated medicine, okay? If you have a fatty liver, and definitely if you have a fatty pancreas, that's a dietary disease. You caused that yourself. That's the bad news, but the great news is you can also cure it yourself. And I didn't say treat or improve. I said cure, didn't I? So that's a big deal. Both of these conditions are treated by diet. There is no pill for fatty liver. There is no pill for fatty pancreas. There is no shot that you can take, okay? You either fix your diet or you keep hearing the train whistle blowing until the train runs over you. Got it. Covered that. Covered that. I'm trying not to miss anything because this is still ongoing research that I'm doing. You have to understand your doctor cannot fix it if you have fatty liver. Your doctor cannot fix it if you have fatty pancreas. You have to fix that yourself. Okay? Only you can fix that. And you fix it in the kitchen and you fix it by what you do and do not put in your mouth. Now, more about fatty pancreas. Basically, it's been known by some researchers and some specialists for several years now that fatty pancreas exists and that it's a big deal and that it leads directly to type 2 diabetes. Some doctors will talk about how your pancreas is playing out, it's giving out, it's exhausted, it's just not making the insulin anymore. Typically, if you check a C-peptide or an insulin level, you'll find that your pancreas is making insulin and it's probably making lots of insulin, but for some reason we just don't know, you're resistant to your insulin that you're making anymore. Maybe there's something defective about your insulin, or maybe you'll hear the lock in the key analogy. Well, insulin is the key that unlocks your muscles so that blood sugar can get out of your blood into your muscles. That's a terrible analogy. If your doctor tells you that analogy, you need to either start educating your doctor or maybe find a new doctor, because that analogy doesn't explain this at all. What's happening is your basically your liver is holding all the fat it can hold, and you're starting to deposit fat in your pancreas. And your pancreas nor your liver like that. They hate having fat in them, okay? They're not made to hold fat, and basically you've eaten so much sugar and fructose and starches and crap that your body doesn't know where to put all this sugar, and so it's just converting it through lipogenesis and putting it in your liver, putting it in your muscles, and then ultimately putting it in your pancreas, okay? So as the pancreas holds more and more fat, you become more and more insulin resistant. And then ultimately, if you have enough fat in your pancreas will stop making insulin. And many doctors, most doctors in fact, will tell you, oh my gosh, your type 2 diabetes has turned into type 1 diabetes. This is complete and utter bullcrap, okay? You should never call someone who was a type 2 diabetic and now is not making insulin a type 1 diabetic. Being a type 1 diabetic is a permanent condition. That means that the beta cells in your pancreas have stopped making insulin permanently. And if you're a type 2 diabetic who's converted into a insulin dependent type 2 diabetic, you need to understand that condition is probably still temporary. Your doctor can't fix it, and therefore that's why he'll give up and say, well, you're a type 1 diabetic now, here, you're going to take this insulin shot once or twice or 10 times a day. That is not the answer. That is not the solution. That is going to make your diabetes worse, not better, because it's going to make you hold even more fat in your muscles and then ultimately more in your liver, more in your pancreas. It's going to make it worse, not better. If you're a type 2 diabetic and your doctor's saying, well, your pancreas is played out, you're going to have to start taking insulin shots, you need to start doing your research, you need to start Googling, you need to seriously consider, do you need to educate your doctor or find a new doctor, okay? The fat in your pancreas, and it's not a lot of fat, that's the thing, is curable. And here's how we know that it's curable. If you have someone who's morbidly obese, who's been told, oh my gosh, you have type 2 diabetes so bad you're going to have to start taking insulin. Some of those people have what's called bariatric surgery or gastric bypass surgery or gastric banding surgery. And basically what that does is it takes either so much of your stomach and intestines out, or it wraps them up or puts a collar around them so tight that you just can't eat the amount of food you once ate, and therefore it's going to cut down on the amount of starches and sugars that you eat and the amount of fructose that you drink. That's going to get the fat out of your pancreas. And these people who have gastric banding and gastric bypass surgery, within weeks, their type 2 diabetes or their type 1 diabetes, if they were told that by the doctor, is cured. They have to stop their insulin or they'll start having hypoglycemic or low sugar episodes. So if you can cure this with gastric bypass surgery, you can also cure it by changing your diet, because that's all gastric bypass does is change your diet. And there's only usually 1 or 2 ounces of fat in your pancreas. That's all it takes to make you have insulin resistance and make you a type 2 diabetic. And so if you change your diet enough, either by having gastric bypass surgery or just by fixing your damn diet, then you can get that little amount of pancreatic fat out, and your pancreas you'll stop being insulin dependent. And it's very, very likely that even if you're now a type 1 diabetic, your pancreas will wake up once the fat is out and it'll start making insulin again. Those beta cells will wake back up and they'll start doing their job. So don't ever think, if you had adult onset diabetes, yeah, I'm stuck taking insulin the rest of my life. That very likely might not be true. Okay. Now, if any of this sounds like something that a loved one or a friend needs to hear, please share this video. Share it on whatever social media you're on, because no doctor is talking about fatty pancreas. Nobody. I mean, you can literally look on YouTube and there's maybe 2 videos about it. That is, it's terrible. It's atrocious that doctors are completely ignoring this and just saying, I don't know, you got fat in your pancreas. I don't. It's of no concern. It's nothing you can really do about it. Here, just take this insulin 5 times a day. No, you can fix that. Please take charge of your health. Fix your diet, fix your body, and that'll fix this problem, I promise. But share this. If you like this video, subscribe and hit the little bell there so every time I have a bright idea, I can give you more information. Now, I always answer every question, so please comment with any questions you have on this video. Ask me a question. If you think what I said was stupid, you can comment that too. If you want to be very inflammatory, I probably won't block you, but my reply may be a little snarky. What else do I need to say about this? Just the take-home message is, your crappy diet leads to fatty liver. That leads to fatty pancreas, which leads to insulin resistance, which is going to lead to type 2 diabetes, and ultimately a type 2 diabetes that your doctor may think you need insulin for. All of this is known in the literature and by some specialists, but it seems to not be known by primary care doctors, so you're going to have to make it your job to know. So that's it about fatty pancreas. Please share this far and wide so that people that need to hear this message can hear it, and I'll be talking about more bright ideas in the future.